What's up, everybody? Couch MILFS here, coming at you with a brand new Overwatch video. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down the new hero junkerqueen. These are potential leaks to the character, so we're going to break down her kit, talk about where her place is in Overwatch 2 and the new meta. Yeah, let's just jump right in. Now, I know that many of you have been grinding incredibly hard this spring to reach your all-time peak, but you're getting a little musty, and here to help is our returning Manscaped partnership. Now, Manscaped sent us an all-new package that includes things like the deodorant and body wash, and even this really fucking good lip balm. I'm serious. You can get the Performance Package 4.0 that comes with waterproof shavers and trimmers, everything you need from all-in-one shampoos, conditioners, to body washes, and more accessories like these. And here's the thing, I'm gonna be real with you guys for a second. It's super easy for you to just neglect your physical and mental health. As guys, it happens all too often. But really, if you're not physically feeling good, you're not gonna mentally feel good as well. And Manscaped has everything you need so that you're at the tip top of your game. What are you waiting for? Use code MILFS20 at the Manscaped checkout for 20% off your order and free shipping. Go check it out in the links right now down below. Now, French content creator Fifi GG actually broke this down because he got it from a quote-unquote reliable source about junkerqueen's abilities in Overwatch 2. Now, while there have been many things leaked in the past and a lot of it has been true, some of it has not been, so always take anything with a grain of salt. Now remember, junkerqueen is going to be a DPS character, and these are her abilities. So first is a shotgun called the Scatter Gun, and apparently it may resemble the Scout's weapon in TF2. And apparently the gun is actually going to be a little bit different than a regular gun. It's gonna have some sort of specialty reload, or there could be some sort of adjustable setting like spread or amount of damage and things like that. We don't have full clarification on this though. Next up is a sword-like melee weapon, which has a bleeding effect on it every time it is used, dealing damage over time, and an ability where it acts like a boomerang. You throw it and can call it back, bopping any enemy that is on its way. Now, this actually brings up more questions than answers because the bleeding effect, I'm guessing it's just damage that you take over time, lingering damage. Not my favorite type of effect, to be honest, but I understand its inclusion in the game. It's already on several other characters. And the boomerang effect is interesting because you could throw your melee-like weapon, but at the same time, the booping any enemy seems a little strange because they already talked about how the majority of CC is going towards the tanking role. So I'm interested in if there's gonna be some exceptions. We did talk about things like freaking Cassidy, maybe he still gets his stun. Maybe some DPS characters get light amount of CC, but nothing overly effective in the CC category, like Doomfist just booping characters around. So I'm interested, and it has me a little bit confused for sure. Now, next up is a rally cry or battle cry. It's an ability that buffs herself and allies, gives her an additional 200 HP and her allies an additional 100 HP. It also gives a 30% speed buff, but it's unclear whether this only applies to herself, but also allies. So yeah, what the fuck is that? There's no way that that's gonna be something that affects your entire team. I could see giving her like an extra amount of HP and maybe one ally an additional 100 HP. And I could see it giving her a speed boost, and that's about it. I do not see it giving her and her entire team 200 for her, 100 for her entire team, and a 30% speed boost. What the fuck is this, goats? No, this is not it. This is broken as shit. That's not, no. There's no way that that is an ability in its current state in the game. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Now, next up is the ability Carnage. Now, Carnage ability that deals damage to all enemies in front of her with a bleeding effect, so damage over time. This one seems like a more realistic ability, okay? Next up is an Adrenaline Shot. It's a passive ability that heals all damage that is done through bleeding effect. Could be extended to fire damage, dynamite, or poison damage, Venom Mine too. This could also be conversion from bleeding damage into HP, as there seems to be some confusion over this translation. This is another interesting one. I honestly like the idea that a character is immune to more of these duration type effects where you take damage slowly, and I would imagine that they're gonna add more and more of them into the game, plus this character adds them. So if you could be immune to, you know, the slow damage of a Widowmaker Mine, that slow damage of Dynamite, all of a sudden you become a little bit more self-reliant, because that's what I hate most about those damage dealing over time, is it's like oftentimes you are dead if you don't get heals or you don't get to a health pack. And sometimes you're like, I need healing, and your healer doesn't prioritize you in like a really small window of time, and then you just die. And I think that that's really annoying personally, and I kind of like something that weakens that effect on a character. Now, last up is the ultimate. A rampage ultimate where she charges in front of her, dealing anti-healing, like an anti-nade it seems, to enemies, all the while healing herself through her passive. The healing is not a result of her ultimate. So this looks like fucking Tasmanian Devil, like you're literally flying at an enemy. That could be interesting. I wonder how much damage it does. Probably not a crazy amount, and I could see how this could be a powerful ultimate, but we have too many questions rather than answers. Is she still CCable? Could you still sleep her? Could you hook her? How could you counter this? How long does it last? How much damage does it do? You see how it just brings up a lot more questions? So yeah. With that being said, even though junkerqueen was actually revealed to be a DPS before, or leaked to be a DPS before, Fifi is actually thinking that she is gonna be a tank. And if she's a tank, this makes a lot more sense, or at least some aspects of this character make a lot more sense. Specifically, that boop ability, the boomerang that flies around, makes more sense. And also, the battle cry or rally cry would make more sense. I'm not entirely sure about speed boosting your allies, but it says it's unclear. But I could see it giving HP to your teammates and then giving themselves a speed boost. I could see something like that. That would make more sense on a tank-like character. He also says it could be a support, and then now I'm just getting confused. But based on the abilities I see, it doesn't really look like a DPS character, if I'm being honest, especially if the CC is true. And on top of that, the battle cry, it doesn't seem like a DPS character at all. So maybe the previous leaks were wrong, or maybe these leaks are freaking wrong. I'm not entirely sure, but some of this stuff seems a little sus. Now, that being said, an interesting aspect of this might be the PvE version of junkerqueen, where your abilities are modified. So these abilities might be true to some sense, but they are actually being overly true. There's like things added on top of them. So for instance, we would have something like that battle cry, and maybe just gives her 200 HP and her allies 100 HP, and that's all it does. But then there's things that are buffed on top of it. To me, that seems like the most plausible explanation, where some of these abilities are kind of supercharged, because that's how it works in PvE, where you can supercharge abilities by allocating things that you earn, little stat points and things like that. That would make the most sense to me. But I am curious how you feel about this character, and I want to pass the question off to you. What class is this character? What are you thinking this character is? Do you think it's a tank, a DPS, or a support? And how do you feel about these abilities? Do they seem realistic to you? And if they do you think that she's really strong or kind of underwhelming? But use code MILFS20 at the Manscaped checkout for 20% off your order and free shipping. Do you and your partner a favor right now in the description down below.